7 years. One envelope. One shocking truth that would rewrite everything I thought I knew. The first thing I saw when I stepped into the old cafe was a smile. But it wasn't warm. It was sharp, almost knowing. My heart froze. 7 years. 7 years gone in a blink, and here she was, sitting by the window, sunlight brushing her hair like a halo. I stopped. The rain had just stopped outside, leaving wet streets that reflected the dim orange of the street lamps. Steam rose from my coffee cup, curling like memories I had tried to bury. The cafe was quiet, the ticking of the clock loud in the silence between us. She looked up, and for a moment, time slowed. Her eyes widened, recognition mixed with surprise. My chest tightened, every old emotion clawing back. I hadn't expected to see her, not here, not now, not after everything. I took a slow step forward. The sound of my shoes against the wooden floor felt deafening. She didn't move. I didn't either. We were both frozen, trapped in a memory neither of us wanted to revisit, yet couldn't escape. I remembered that night 7 years ago, the fight, the slammed doors, the bitter words I wish I could take back. I had left town with nothing but my pride and a promise to never return. And yet, here I was, staring at her as if the years hadn't passed, as if the past hadn't left scars too deep to heal. She folded her hands on the table, fingers trembling just slightly. My mind raced. Did she even remember why I left? Did she feel the same ache that had haunted me all these years? Or had she moved on? I swallowed. The cafe smelled of coffee and old books, a strange comfort in the storm of emotions inside me. My eyes traced the curve of her jaw, the tilt of her head, everything familiar yet changed. The silence stretched, heavy and unbearable, each heartbeat louder than the last. I wanted to speak, to say something, anything, but the words wouldn't come. All I could do was watch, and wait, and remember. Then she smiled again, a little sad, a little knowing, and whispered, almost to herself, "I never thought I'd see you here again." I froze. My fingers tightened around my cup. Something in her tone, something unsaid lingered, twisting the air between us. I realized then that whatever had ended 7 years ago wasn't finished, and whatever she had hidden, I was about to uncover it. And that's when I saw the envelope lying on the table, waiting for me. I picked up the envelope. My name was written in her neat handwriting, the ink slightly smudged. I glanced at her. She didn't speak. Her eyes avoided mine, scanning the window, the empty cafe, the rainy street outside. "Why, now?" I finally asked, my voice barely above a whisper. She shrugged, a small, almost imperceptible movement. Silence stretched. The clock ticked. Steam rose from our untouched coffee, curling like ghosts around our memories. I remembered that night 7 years ago. The fight in my apartment. My anger. Her tears. The way I slammed the door and never looked back. Every word I had shouted, every harsh accusation I had thrown, it all came rushing back. And the shame. The ache. I had left her there. Alone. She broke the silence. "You left." Without a word. I choked. I thought it was the only way. She shook her head. "No, not like that. Not now." Her eyes were wet, glistening, but her hand stayed still, steady. We sipped our coffee in silence. Every glance, every breath, every small movement spoke volumes. The years of unspoken grief, of love lost and anger buried, were all in the quiet. Then a memory flickered, me finding that ring in my drawer years ago, the one I had meant to give her before I left. I had hidden it, afraid of facing the heartbreak that would follow. And now, all of that hesitation, all of that fear, felt heavier than the cup I held. She finally spoke again, softly. I tried to forget. I really did. But some things, you can't erase. I nodded, understanding the weight of her words. She reached for the envelope, sliding it across the table. My fingers brushed hers. Electric, painful, familiar. Inside, I found photographs, me, her, and a small boy. A boy with my eyes and her smile. My chest tightened, my stomach dropped. I didn't know how to tell you, she whispered. 7 years, and I didn't want you to think I trapped you. But he deserved to know his father. I stared at the boy in the photos. My son. My blood. My unfinished past had returned in the most unexpected, perfect, and devastating way. Her eyes searched mine, calm yet vulnerable. I had to be sure that you were ready, that you could handle it, that you wouldn't walk away again. Everything clicked. The silence, the envelope, the years of distance. It was all part of something bigger. Something I hadn't seen coming. I swallowed hard. My hand trembled slightly. The tension between us had shifted. Not anger. Not hate. Something darker. Something controlled. I looked at her. I looked at the photos. And I realized revenge didn't have to be cruel. Sometimes, it was quiet, precise, inevitable. And I smiled, carefully, like a storm about to break. Because I was ready. I set the envelope on the table and leaned back, letting the truth sink in. My son. 7 years of absence, of longing, of unfinished words. And now, he existed. She watched me, calm, as if she had rehearsed this moment. There was no panic, no anger, no pleading. Just control. And pain. And love. Complicated. Tangled. Impossible. I reached for the last photo. His small hand in hers. My eyes traced the familiar features, the curve of his jaw, the shape of his eyes. Every piece of him screamed that he was mine. And for the first time, I understood the depth of her sacrifice. Why didn't you tell me? I asked, my voice breaking, low and steady. I needed you to come back, she said simply. Not for me. For him. For you. To see what you'd do, and if you'd care. The quiet revenge hit me then. She had held back. She had tested me. Not with anger. Not with confrontation. But with life itself. I felt a strange calm wash over me. I didn't shout. I didn't demand explanations. I simply looked at her, at him, and understood the game had been hers all along. I stood up, carefully, and pulled the envelope closer. I won't leave again, I whispered. My hands steadied. My heart raced. This was the moment of reckoning. She nodded, faintly smiling. She knew I had finally learned the lesson, the patience, the control, the quiet understanding of what real revenge could be. I looked at my son's eyes in the photo one last time, then back at her. I didn't need words. I didn't need anger. The years, the pain, the absence, it all became part of something bigger, a careful, deliberate truth. And then I left the cafe, slowly, letting the sunlight hit my face. Not triumphant, not relieved, but complete. She stayed behind, watching me. And in that silence, I knew the story was over. But the consequences, the weight of the past, would linger forever. I turned one last time. My voice was soft but firm. Thank you, for everything. And for the first time in 7 years, I felt like a man who had finally come home. If you loved this story, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more thrilling videos.